Our next speaker is an e-government enthusiast, having spent recent years in top management positions for Romanian IT companies. We welcome Mihnea Mihailescu, Deputy CEO of Trencadis Corp, a Romanian integrator managing complex IT systems, accessed by more than 100,000 citizens per day. Today, Mihnea will share some key insights on how we can fight competitive law breaches. This should be interesting, Mihnea.
Hi, thank you very much for the introduction. Good afternoon to everybody watching us after they had breakfast. Good morning for those who haven't. I must say it's very interesting to be in a hybrid event organized so nice by our hosts, Big Step and eSolutions Group. The room here is very interesting. Last time I was here, I was at a wedding, being a godfather, so it's it's a bit of a difference between the two occasions. But I'm excited to be part of this conference for the second time in a row as a gold partner, and this confirms our interest and our focus on big data technologies. Just a few words about Trencadis. Trencadis has been providing IT services for the public sector over the past 14 years now. We are very proud of this. It's our mission. It's our vision that we need to put all our competence, our experience gained over the years working in the IT industry, after having studied in the very good universities we have in this area, in order to bring back to our society our knowledge and to contribute to improving the quality of public services offered by our clients to citizens and to communities. We have been focusing over the past years on big data and machine learning technologies in a cybersecure environment for our clients, and this makes us very proud, because at the end of the day, each and every use case that we analyze with our business analysts, each and every test case we test with our testers, each and every line of code which we write with our developers, and each and every deliverable which we manage with our project managers contributes to our clients improving a service which they offer to their clients. And when you work for a public institution client, their clients means us, citizens and communities, our colleagues, our families, our neighbors, and so on. Going further to a few big data systems which we have been implemented already. I would give just 3 examples now. We have been focusing over the past years on healthcare systems, and we have developed a big data system for the Oncogen Research Institute in Timișoara, helping to diagnose certain forms of cancer through the aid of a big data system. The trade registry big data, which provides predictive analysis on the evolution of the institution activity based on historic data, and it does this by analyzing changes to structured and non-structured data. And last but not least, the focus for this presentation today is the Competition Council Big Data Project, which creates the ability of the institution and their employees to assess huge amounts of data in a short period of time, thus improving the quality and reliability of the current activity. I must say that Trencadis being an integrator, we work with a lot of companies on the market as we work with vendors, we work with technology partners, with service providers, and we are proud that even in some of these projects we have partnered with the organizers of today's event, with the eSolutions Group, and we are very proud to work together because all the time we have things to learn from our partners and we have things to give to our partners, and this creates the economy to move forward and to work better for our clients. The project we will present today integrates and operates at analytical level capitalization of large volumes of data to support both the investigative activities but also the preventive function of the Competition Council. And this is one of the main goals of the project, and it's an objective for which we are very proud of. Our solution collects data from multiple structured and unstructured sources. This data is acquired, processed, and aggregated in order to be available to the end users of the system. We do this with the help of the SAS detection and investigation for government product, which is probably the most powerful tool on the market for government institutions. And we have been implementing this product already several times, and we gained a lot of experience in this, and it helped us to provide better services to our client and to improve its activity. It's important to mention that big data is one of the 5 pillars of the European Commission selected as priorities for the digital single market, along with 5G communication, cloud computing, Internet of Things, and cybersecurity. The strategic objectives of this project are 2. One, the support of the current investigative procedures of the client, and second, and I would say more important because it's totally new, it's the predictive analysis and early detection of anti-competitive behaviors. What does this mean? It means that with the help of this tool, the system will raise alerts when it comes to companies having an anti-competitive behavior, which means that the competition inspectors will be able to analyze and to investigate such possible law breaches early enough, not needing to wait for a complaint being raised by somebody. Doesn't matter if it's a company or if it's another institution or an individual. So this is the newest thing and very important. There are 5 areas for investigation in focus for our project: bid rigging, cartel screening, structural and trade links between companies, sector investigation, and economic concentrations. All of them are current activities of the institution, of the competition council, but with the help of the big data system which we implemented, these activities will be supported with huge amounts of data from internal and external sources, and I will detail them a little bit later. To give you already an example of how does it look, and then go to the details behind, the technicalities behind. This is just an example screen of the target for the implementation of the system. It has several important areas. which I will give you a little bit of details about. They are anonymized, they are protected because, of course, these activities, when they work on the real production data, are highly confidential. So, in the area where the number 1 is, you have the 5 areas of focus, and you can select each of those from a drop-down list. In the area marked with number 2, you have alert score. This is a score which is automatically computed based on different algorithms for each alert and market indicator. Area number 3, you have the alert domain, the market or the company or other domains for the current investigation area. Area number 4, you have alert details for each indicator. For example, for a mock indicator called SA6, if the score is higher than a certain threshold which is configured in the system, then an alert is being generated. In area number 5, you have alert details, and in area number 6, you have a network graphical representation of the alert entities. And alert entities, for example, can be can be a network of linked elements displayed for an alert, like market, address, individuals, documents, which share the same data and which are connected. Now, what is important is that part of this system was a huge statistical endeavor, and this confirms what some people are saying, that that the job of the future is like to be a statistician. And in big data, this is clear. It's already confirmed by us, the people working in such projects. But the effort was huge because we analyzed 110 indicators, comparing and collecting and aggregating and processing data from several sources, which then determine a certain alert score. And based on the alert score, you get a hint in the system that there might be a law breach in a certain environment with some companies and so on. The method is to develop IT tools based on specific investigation needs for these 5 areas of focus. And when these existing data materialized as indicators have values outside configured thresholds, then the system issues these proactive alerts. And this is the newest thing, and the main gain of this system, that you move part of your activity to analyzing proactive alerts, and you are able to discover potential law breaches early in the process, before they create and before they distort already a certain part of the economy, or of a certain sector of the economy. Some of the indicators which are used, I just give you here some examples, are related to market indicators, to company indicators, and to bid indicators. And you have here a few examples, but you need to see that on this slide you have 4 + 2 + 3, like 9 indicators, and we have analyzed 110. So these are 9 out of 110. That's why I'm saying that the effort was huge from a statistical perspective, and we have worked with data scientists from famous universities in Bucharest. We have worked with the team of the client who has huge expertise in this area, consultants from other countries where such systems have been implemented. So the effort was really significant. I'll go now into an example of a process, because this process is so complex. We have designed workflows and processes for each of the algorithms and each of the indicators aggregating to a certain alert. And we created an example of such a process just to show you what is involved in the predictive analysis aimed at identifying competition law breaches. So on the left-hand side of the slide, you have external sources of data. Here are three of the most important: the trade registry, the bid system SAP, and the fiscal agency, national fiscal agency, ANAF, with some of the data which is collected from these systems. Then this data is transmitted to a process which does data acquisition. In this data acquisition process, you have an internal process of reception, validation, structuring, consolidation, aggregation. Then, after this is being completed, you go to transmit this data to the SAS Visual Investigator tool, SAS VI. It stands for Visual Investigator. After it's imported in SAS Visual Investigator, then it's being checked on this data. The aggregated data is being checked. Then it's sent over to processing into the Visual Investigator, which means that data which arrive in the big data system of SAS VI from these sources are being processed, are being generated based on some indicators like company files, like activity packages for company profiles, like bids which are grouped based on the CPV code, and so on. Then it goes to calculation of the indicators. The indicators are being calculated based on this data which are imported, and several indicators out of those 110 which I mentioned are being calculated depending on each area of the investigation. After the calculation, then then they go to the start of the alerting mechanism. What does this mean? It means that the system has already been configured by the employees of the Competition Council to have certain thresholds for each of these indicators and for the results of the aggregation of such indicators. And then if these thresholds if your indicator is outside of these thresholds which are established, then you go to a possible alert. You go to an end user which will check data, will make his or her own personal decision-making process and analysis also based on other data. And then if they check that the alert is real, then the alert process is being issued and sent to an investigation inspector, which will then follow on with the activities which are not done in the system but in the real life of the involved entities. So this is this was an example of let's say the process of issuing an alert which becomes a proactive warning for our client and a proactive warning for a sector of our economy. Now, going to the sources which have been gathered and from which data has been collected in this system, I will give you here the examples on most of the data which is gathered. And Here you have internal sources of the client, like the document archive, the case management system, electronic registration, knowledge database, the register of state aid, and there are also other internal sources. And external sources like company information from the trade registry, the balance sheet information from the National Fiscal Agency, the bid information regarding procedures and offers and participants from the SEAP bid system, complaints against bid from the national complaints institutions, press and media articles. This is something which is very interesting because we have created our own product. It's a product called Trencadis ZAP, which scans press monitoring services and aggregates data and makes correlations between a certain investigation which is conducted in SAS Visual Investigator with data arriving from monitoring of press, online press services. And also information related to the Ministry of Justice from the systems of the Ministry of Justice. What it's important to mention regarding these sources is that the effort to be able to get all these data from all these institutions, maybe it's something which for us in the IT industry, it doesn't seem very difficult. I mean, for us to collect data from 6 data sources, it doesn't seem so difficult. But having the experience of working in the public sector in Romania, I must say that it is a real challenge, and it's an important step forward, the fact that all these institutions were able to share data, to sign all the necessary protocols in order to exchange data, and to agree that the Competition Council will analyze all this data. Looking into the future, if any of these here or other institutions would do the same, I'm ready to bet that each of these organizations will be able to provide a better service for the citizens. Because when you get data from more sources, then you are able to provide a better, a more informed, faster service to someone who is your beneficiary, your client. And for all the public institutions, or most of the public institutions, their clients are citizens, so us. Some of the, let's say, analytics part in this system will be presented here in a very summarized version, but it's important to say that the use of big data technologies has made its presence felt in a number of areas that have a common feature: the analysis of large volumes of data in order to make predictions for the future. And working for a public sector client, it's important to mention that they haven't been collecting data for so many years. We are used to working with banks or with clients from other countries which have been collecting data for tens of years. Now, when you work with clients in the public institutions in Romania, you know that most of the IT systems have arisen like 10 years ago, 12 years ago, so they haven't been collecting so much data. Probably we have been working with big data for some of our clients even before knowing that it's called big data. But now that you have computing power and you have even more data to collect, then you have what it takes to implement a big data system. And we know that big data technology will transform the traditional business model and the decision-making process, and will transform it in a good way. It will make it faster, it will make it more informed, it will make it available to more people, and so on and so forth. The Big data process collection here, it's split into, let's say, several areas like the administrative processes, like the screening process, which is like the workspace of each user, the analysis, which are support for investigations, and the private space for investigation. And each of these have different rules, and they combine data from different sources. They have different access rules, access privileges, different levels of security. The infrastructure is hosted in the most secure data center in Romania, and that's the special telecommunication service data center. So the security of the system, it was very important. From a technical perspective, from the stack of technologies which have been used, it's worthwhile mentioning that I have already said that we use the SAS detection and investigation for government system, but also other important players and products well known on the international market have been used, but also some local products on the produced by Romanian companies, which is like the case for our Trencadis ZAP product. But we use the Cisco data center and security. We use the Cloudera and StreamSets data platform data collector. We use the Quest Foglight performance monitoring, the CyberQuest CM, and the Postgres Enterprise DB database. We have here part of the technology stack, let's say the most relevant, but the real stack is a little bit bigger. These are, let's say, the most important, and what I have come to realize is that the technology stack that we use in a certain system creates also the motivation for part of our for our employee, for part of our collaborators, like technology partners, service providers, and it creates the mechanisms for evolving with our teams and together with our partners. And we are constantly striving to get up to date with the newest things. A project which we did also for a big data system 3 years ago, we used some tools which now we don't use anymore. Yeah, you know that in the IT systems sector, things and products evolve hugely fast, and it's hard to keep the pace and to train your people and also get the time to really use what you have trained them for, because you might find yourself in 2 years with, I don't know, StreamSets being bought and then bought by another company and so on. So it is challenging, but it is nice, and the fact that we implement such systems for a public sector client creates a motivation which is above any other type of project, in my opinion, which you can implement for other clients. Although I'm sure there are projects which are nicer, projects which are better, and so on. It's clear you can always improve your activity. So these were let's say the main details of this system for which we are very proud of and very fond of, and we want to have the chance to work again on such a system for other clients in Romania or abroad, and we invite everybody who feels the same motivation to just send me a message on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to discuss about future projects that we aim for. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Mihnea. Thank you for the awesome presentation. One question. Is there anything you would have done differently or more if you could have?
Always. Always, you know, when you finalize a certain stage of a project, you do a lessons learned, and when you do a lessons learned, you discover things which could have been done better or differently. It depends. It's valid for all our projects. Also, in this one, we would have done things differently in terms of processing data from one of the external data sources, for example, because we had the unlucky event to have a data structure change between 2 or 3 initial imports of data when we were calibrating the system, and we had to change the data model 2 or 3 times to improve it. But that was something which, being dependent on an external data source, I would have done it a little bit different, but it's not sure that I could have avoided this part of the, let's say, rework volume. Ideally, you clarify all the specifications when you do the architecture of the system, and then you don't need to change it. Ideally, but sometimes it happens for reasons outside of your control or even your client's control. Then you need to change it, and yeah, you can improve that.
All right. Thanks again.